Greetings. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ted in Your Head podcast. I am your host, Ted Moreno, certified hypnotherapist and high performance coach. And I am here to help you with what? I had somebody ask me recently, they said, "What's your podcast about? Is it about hypnosis?" And I thought to myself, it's not really about hypnosis. That's the tool that me as a hypnotherapist, that's the tool that I use to help people, but the podcast's not really about that. So I really had to sit down and think about what my podcast is about. And so this is what I came up with, and I'll read it to you, and I think I'm going to incorporate this into my podcast. So we seek here at the Ted in the Head podcast to liberate ourselves from the negative hypnosis of lack, limitation, and lethargy, and intentionally pursue a powerful path of personal transformation. So that's what I got, and I meant it, I said it, and I'm here to represent it, right? All right. So, by the way, as a hypnotherapist, I work in many, many different areas. A lot of anxiety, breaking bad habits, greater motivation. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I will tell you how to get in touch with me at the end of today's show. But for now, let's get into our topic of conversation, the hidden fear that you may have that you don't know you have. So let me start by explaining that many people come to me for a lot of the same reasons. They're overwhelmed. They've got too many things to think about, too many things to do. They're stressed, and this is impacting their stomach. It's keeping them from sleeping. It's creating, anxiety, confusion, worry, and uncertainty. So these are the kind of main things that people come to me for help with. And of course, hypnosis is the main tool that I use. It's a powerful tool, very effective. When somebody leaves my office, they feel better than when they walked in, more calm, more relaxed, more at ease. But in a typical hypnotherapy session, I also give my clients recommendations. And of course, one of the recommendations I give them is slow down, take more breaks, get better sleep, sit outside, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, right? This is a good prescription, I think, for much of what ails us in our modern society. But lately, and these things kind of go in waves. So lately I've had a wave of clients coming in saying to me, I tried to do what you told me to do. I tried to relax. I tried to take more breaks. And I notice that when I slow down, I feel fear. I feel anxiety. I have a fear of slowing down. And that's the hidden fear that I want to talk to you about today. And it seems to be an epidemic these days of people that are just afraid of slowing down, or when they stop or take a break or slow down, a lot of anxiety comes up. Why is that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, as I was doing the research for this podcast, I came up with two very interesting terms that I hadn't heard before. The first one is hurry sickness. Hurry sickness. What is hurry sickness? It's the feeling of being constantly rushed and stressed. It's not a real sickness, but it is a condition that we can feel a lot. And so obviously, stress and worry is all mixed up in this hurry sickness, right? I've got to accomplish all these things. I've got to make this happen. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Got to take care of the kids. Got to do the job. Got to maintain the house. All of these things, right? So it's that feeling of like, I've got to, I have to, I've got to, I've got to. And so I think the hyper awareness of time is another aspect to this. Like, oh, look at the clock. I've only got so much time to accomplish this. Oh, really? Is it 7 p.m. already? You know, right? Are you feeling that in your body right now as I describe it? The feeling that time is your enemy, and there's not enough time to get stuff done, and consequently, there's a fear of falling behind. What if I fall behind? I had somebody call me just last night and say, I'm so busy. I'm really afraid of falling behind. I really need to catch up. And so what I told this person is, well, I think it's important to understand that you'll never catch up. You're not going to, at one point, lean back in your chair, put your computer keyboard down or your pen or pencil down and say, oh, I'm caught up. Everything is caught up. That's not going to happen. It's a constant, uh, it's a constant progression of pushing stuff forward. That's what life is like. Moving this thing forward, moving that thing forward, and there's always something to do. So, yeah, fear of falling behind is an important part of this inability to just sit and stop and rest. So these three things, hurry sickness, stress and worry, hyper awareness of time and falling behind, I would group all of these under tying your self-worth to productivity, right? The idea being that you are not a valuable person. You're not a good person unless you are productive. So this is a problem, right? Because our value as human beings doesn't come from what we do, but who we're being, right? And yes, what we do may be in alignment of who we are being, but of course we can get in the cycle of just being productive for the sake of being productive, because if we're not productive, then we're lazy or not doing anything, or I don't know, not deserving of reward or prosperity or abundance or whatever it is for you. So, of course, we derive a certain amount of value from doing good things, right? It feels good, and it feels good to our self-worth when we take care of somebody, when we earn money and, take care of the family and all of that. Yet, I think we do need to draw a distinction in the fact that we don't want our self-value to depend exclusively on our productivity. That's a huge mistake. I would suggest that you take time to examine and see if that is indeed the case with you, that's stopping you from stopping, that's keeping you from just doing less and being more, enjoying life more, which I think is a worthwhile thing to talk about. So we're talking about doing addiction, right? Doing addiction. That's the second kind of term that I got familiar with that I hadn't heard before. An addiction to doing. Why would we become addicted to doing? Well, here's another reason. Distraction from negative emotions. We don't want to feel negative emotions. We don't want to feel grief. We don't want to feel loss. We don't want to feel anxiety, worry, uncertainty. We don't want to feel lack of confidence, fear, right? So we distract ourselves by doing. And why do we call it an addiction? Because an addiction is something that we use to medicate ourselves, right? To not feel. And I think that doing, uh, n having to be busy all the time and not resting is a way to medicate ourselves to our feelings, right? If I'm busy, I'm always distracted. I never need to sit down and feel what I need to feel. Maybe vulnerability, right? If I'm not productive, then somebody's going to come and call me out on my laziness, etc., etc. So this is an important thing to discuss because the way to let go of negative emotions is to feel them. If we are distracting ourselves from feeling our emotions, then we are repressing our emotions. And of course, I've talked in previous podcasts about the downside of that. Could show up in the body as physical presentation, could become overwhelming and lead to other mental health issues. We need to be okay with feeling our feelings. And if, when you stop or rest, feelings come up that you don't want to feel, that's a good sign that there's something you need to pay attention to, such as why are you feeling these feelings and what can you do about them or resolve them or release them or let them go. And there's a variety of different ways to make this happen, but of course it starts with recognizing oh, I have these emotions or feelings inside of me that I don't want to feel, that I'm avoiding, that I'm repressing, right? So there's a need there for some whatever, therapy or intervention, or at the very least, attention and intention. Avoiding uncomfortable feelings, one of the reasons people don't want to stop or rest or slow down. I think another reason is that people have experienced trauma and overwhelming stress, so their nervous systems are hyper vigilant. So constantly on guard. And I think this is very, very common that people are walking around in this constant state of what we might call hyper arousal or hyper vigilance. The feeling that if I'm not on guard, if I'm not always preparing and making something happen, something catastrophic is going to happen to me, and I'm going to be left, uh, I'm going to be caught off guard. So I constantly need to do and think and plan and focus, or something bad's going to happen. And this is typically a trauma response for many people and for people that have experienced periods of long, high, prolonged stress. This is also a type of stress response as well. So, and of course, there's a feeling of lack of control, right? We want to keep everything under wraps. We want to control how we're feeling, and to control how we're feeling, we need to control everything out there. And guess what? You can't control everything out there. You can control some things, maybe. I personally feel that you have no control over anything except like the thoughts that you attach to. But that's the podcast for another time. But I think trying to control everything out there so that you can control what you're feeling, that's a losing proposition, like a dog chasing its tail. So these are some things to think about and ask yourself, do I have this hidden fear of slowing down, of resting, of stopping? And it's very common that people do. And what do we do about that? How can we address this fear of stopping or slowing down or taking breaks or, taking time to stop and smell the roses? Well, it really comes down to a couple of things. And number one, we need to practice. We need to practice stopping. We need to feel what comes up, notice it, write about it, talk about it in therapy with somebody you trust or love, with a counselor, right? Recognize it. That's the first step. Oh, I really feel anxiety when I stop. I really feel afraid when I'm not being productive. Recognize that. And if that's something you want to change, then you can start working on it. If you're perfectly happy with that, then fine. No problem, no foul, right? But typically, people, at least people that come to me, don't want to feel afraid of resting and stopping because, you go on vacation and you can't relax. You go to a party to have a, relaxing evening with friends and you're on your phone, you can't relax, you're taking phone calls. You know, that's for many people unacceptable. So one of the ways that we can practice stopping or resting is through meditation. And it's very hard. Meditation is very hard for many people for that exact reason. They're not used to stopping. They can't stop. Their minds are like blah, 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 chat, 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 blah, 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 right? But that's why meditation is called a practice. We have to practice meditation. And how can you get used to it? By taking deep breaths. Just practicing maybe 2 or 3 minutes of deep breathing is a way of stopping, a way of calming the nervous system, a way of resetting that hypervigilance to a more calm, relaxed state. So you can practice stopping or slowing down by simply taking 2 or 3 minutes to take some deep breaths. If you can't meditate, if you can, definitely do that. I think another important thing is to schedule relaxation into your life. Taking a day off, like on this day, maybe just half a day, like half a day on Sunday. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit and watch TV. I'm going to read a book or, play an instrument, right? So scheduling relaxation is super important. Um, And positive affirmations, I would also add. It's okay if I relax. Positive affirmations are very, very powerful. Don't underestimate the words that you say to yourself. So, those positive affirmations that you say might sound something like, it's okay if I take a break. It's okay if I take a day off. Everything's going to be okay. I'm still productive and valuable if I take time off. Like those would be good examples of positive affirmations. And if we have those affirmations and we've practiced them, then when a negative thought comes in, like you're being lazy by taking a break, then you can challenge it. You can challenge it because you have this new language available to you. I hope that makes sense. Um, Time scheduling. So we talked about kind of scheduling time for relaxation. But time scheduling is important to kind of be realistic about what we can accomplish. So if you have a list of 100 things and you start the day by looking at that list, that's a losing battle right off the start because you're not probably not going to be able to accomplish 100 things. And you'll end up feeling stressed and bad about yourself at the end of the day. So instead, focus on accomplishing 8 things, 9 things of the most important things. You need to prioritize. See, the key to being productive, in my view, is getting the most important stuff done during the day. And if you have time left over, you take care of the minor stuff. Okay. So starting the day with a reasonable idea of what you can accomplish in a specified period of time. And this is where kind of time blocking is very helpful. From 10 to 11, I'm going to do this. From 11 to 12, I'm going to focus on this. From 12 to 1, I'm going to eat some lunch and maybe read or, work on the computer if you have to. I don't think that's a good idea, but time blocking can be very, very helpful. And of course, the final thing you can do to get used to stopping and get more comfortable with relaxing or slowing down is to seek professional help, especially for trauma or past times of stress or loss or grief that you can't manage on your own. Seek professional help through psychotherapy or through hypnotherapy. And certainly I can work in many of these areas. And if that is something you're interested in, you can reach out to me to get a complimentary phone consultation by going to tedmoreno.com and you can contact me through the contact menu. So, uh, is that a hidden fear you have that you didn't know? The fear of slowing down? Maybe. If it's a maybe, check it out, do some writing, talk to other people, see what they think. If it's definitely not something that you experience, if you're fully able to rest, relax, and slow down, then share this podcast with somebody that you think could use it. All right. Please leave a review. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on all the usual social media outlets. And you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and what's the name of it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. SoundCloud. And if you want to watch this, if you want to see me, you can watch this on YouTube at Ted A. Moreno. Thank you so much for checking in, and we'll talk soon. Bye.